Let's now speak to the spokesperson of the Electoral Commission, Jotham Tarema, on today's developments. Good evening, Jotham.
Good evening, Joe.
Yeah, we did see how the process did go today. A couple of people went out to cast their ballots to vote their leaders, but there were issues in a couple of areas. For starters, let's first clear this. Of course, this is on the backdrop of the fact that there was no money available. As the ECU asked for money and said, look, we'd like to conduct a secret ballot election. They told you there's no money. And here we got to be. The European Union the other day, at least through the French ambassador, said they were willing to give us some money to make sure this is a secret ballot, such that we conduct it in a 2018 way, as opposed to 1960 or that kind of thing. Why did we not reach out enough to try and ensure that there is money available and we do it the right way?
Joel, I think you will agree with me that the turn-up for the LC1 elections today was unprecedented in this country.
What was the percentage?
In Kampala, we haven't yet come to the percentages.
Hey, so how do you know?
But you have been watching television, you have reporters on the ground, you have seen queues of people lining up as early as 8. You have sampled this whole country and you realize the turn-up was very, very high. So I don't know of any secret ballot election we have organized and we have observed such a turn-up.
My
as to
question
the
though,
claims of the European Union, we are not aware that EU was committed or was prepared to fund LC1 under the secret
The French ambassador said they actually tried to engage the people, but you were not as responsive.
I am not aware that he even engaged us.
It's a lady.
We met with the ambassador and other ambassadors, and we talked about these elections. I don't remember an offer. And by the way, even if an offer had come through, it should have been before the amendments of the Local Government Act that provided for lining up. So if that offer was made after the amendment, still it wouldn't be taken up because the law says people will line up. But I think the people of Uganda have spoken today and they have disappointed some sections of the public who were opposed to lining up. They were excited. They came up in big numbers. They lined behind candidates of their choices. You could see celebrations of people after voting. So, what is it about this? Actually, people have been making fun. They are saying, the way we are excited with the method of lining up, it should be actually extended to even other elective positions.
You have evidence to that effect. But let's talk about the serious matter of this whole queuing up. For starters, the law was changed and amended to provide for queuing up. And that means these elections were meant to be conducted by queuing up. But I'm sure you know, if you don't, at least I'm letting you know, that in some areas, the candidates agreed among themselves that they will do it secret ballot. So they got exercise books, 12 pieces of paper, and then the voters wrote their names and cast their ballots. In Bale, for example, a place called Bale Garage.
Then that station must have been cancelled because we were out clear and loud that the method was lining up.
So are you telling us now that wherever secret ballot was carried out, those votes are null and void? Is that what you're saying?
Actually, this is the first time I'm hearing that in today's election.
Now you know that we journalists are more on ground than yourselves.
Did you capture that polling?
You captured the other images if you're interested.
That must have been exclusive for you. See people opposed to lining up and writing on cheats, and that should have been exciting.
Because it did happen. The point though is, so you are telling us that where that happened, that's a nullity.
No, of course it would be against the law. We would not allow it.
Okay, let's talk some more about the law. The requirement, according to the Local Government Amendment Act, is that for civil servants to participate in this election as candidates, they ought to resign 30 days before. We saw that some candidates were actually civil servants and they had not resigned 30 days prior. So how are you folks treating that?
You saw or you heard?
We know for a fact.
Who?
Police officers, for example, in Naguru and a couple of other areas?
No. Those are hearsays. But if they did, if they went through and got nominated, and today they were voted in, probably because there was no sufficient information by our officers who nominated them that these people were public servants. Okay? But the law, indeed, as you mentioned, says if you want to participate, this is a multi-party dispensation. You can't be a public servant and then go and compete in a multi-party election. So they should have resigned.
Did you folks do enough vetting? Were you prepared for this? Because if we're hearing cases of, of the kind and others, I'm wondering whether you did enough preparation, enough vetting. There are many voters that are complaining and saying, look, we came and confirmed our names are on the register. Today, our names are not on the register. You saw an old lady on TV and several others. And so we're wondering what happened along the way.
Yeah, well, we don't do vetting. Our vetting is by way of public coming up and volunteering information. Okay? Especially on candidates.
You meant to vet candidates, I thought.
Especially on candidates. Why? We don't vet. But if we nominate Joel...
That's what I'm talking about. By the time you nominate somebody,
Joel,
you have gone through the procedure and you know that Jotham Taremwa qualifies.
What we look out for are the requirements for one to be nominated.
That's the vetting.
But we don't
in
do
English language
checks. We are not an intelligence organization to do background checks. But as long as you meet our requirements as stipulated in the law, we shall nominate you. But if somebody has evidence that actually Joel, the one we have nominated as a candidate, is a public servant and brings up that evidence, before elections are held, we will definitely act and disqualify Joel from the race. If Joel goes through as a public servant and he is voted into office, anyone can challenge him and he loses that seat upon availability of evidence. And that will be court, it won't be Electoral Commission. Now, back to your point. People who registered and didn't see their names on the register. Could be right, could be wrong. We need to investigate that. But from experience, there are people before who have come up before the cameras to complain that they registered. And with national elections, we do biometric voter registration. So we capture all your biodata and we store it in a computer. You search in the computer and the name is not there. The case in point was somewhere in Utaleja. There was a father of a candidate in a by-election who said, I have always voted here. Actually, the polling station is next to my compound. How can you remove my name? And you deny me a right to vote my daughter who was participating in the by-election. And called on the media. And he said, what? How could this come about? We checked, we did the check, we called the headquarters here. For us, we were already in the field. They only found that the man was registered in Naguru. So some of the voters are not so honest. But if at all it is true that somebody registered and the names or the name does not appear on our register, then that is a case for investigation. We would want actually to receive those complaints as a commission so that...
Do you actually follow up these things? Because they come through, in 2016 they did, by-election they did.
We do.
Now they have come through, you're saying people should come and you're going to deal with them. Do you ever deal with them?
But when we deal with them, we don't come to publicize our decisions.
Well, you probably should do a lot more.
Maybe you should give us airtime. You should give us airtime.
No, you will pay for it. You have some money for that. Finally, Jotham, 633 villages were not able to conduct these elections for different reasons. Some were citing irregularities and so on and so forth. What are you telling these people? Because they need to choose their leaders.
It was about irregularities.
Well, that's what they are alleging.
I think it is more.
And they're entitled to their, opinion or their observance of things.
I don't think it had to do with irregularities. It was a case of indiscipline, okay? And a case of failure to register during the registration period because somebody thinks since I have a national ID register, I am a resident in this village. These people of the Electoral Commission who are conducting registration for village residents, to hell with them. Everybody knows me here. Why do I have to register? So they did not participate in our registration on account of possessing a national ID, on account of being known in the villages they stay in. But the law says for you to participate in voting, you must be a registered voter. You must be on the register.
When are these elections going to happen? The chairman was saying it could happen tomorrow or any other day. Do we have certainty?
No, we have said for villages where voting did not take place and materials are intact, and our officers are aware of those villages. I can't give you the list now. Polling should take place tomorrow. And we have already informed them. We have already informed the police to ensure that security is provided for places where violence disrupted the polling so that people exercise their right to vote tomorrow. But for those villages where some of the rowdy residents tore or stole our registers, those ones, they will not vote.
So you're punishing the rest of the citizens in that area because of Jotham, another Tarema, or another person who, you know, tore the register. So everybody else should be punished. Is that fair?
You were a student in school. Whenever if there was a strike and some school property is damaged, okay?
You pick out the wrongdoers. You don't punish everybody.
So how do we? You have taken the register. How do we conduct an election without a register tomorrow?
Well, you have a lot of homework to do, but at least what's important is that people get to exercise their right. I hope that
exactly.
you will dig these things out.
Core objective.
Jotham Taremo, EC spokesperson, thank you for talking to us.
Thank you, Joel.
Thank you for coming to us. All right, moving on. Some of the contestants in the Entebbe Municipality Local Council 1 election refused to concede defeat, citing vote rigging and breaches in election laws. Voting was largely peaceful despite